In a united call to action, local leaders, including National Assembly members, National Environment Agency officials, wildlife experts, and activists are urging communities to take ownership of wetland preservation as concerns about environmental degradation rise. In an interview with Star TV's Awa Sanneh, more in this report.
Wetlands play a vital role in maintaining ecological balance, supporting biodiversity, and ensuring the health of the planet. Wetlands act as nature's kidneys, filtering pollutants, sediments, and excess nutrients from water, which enhances water quality. They store significant amount of carbon, contributing to climate change mitigation. Wetlands absorb excess water during heavy rains, reducing flood risks in surrounding areas. Honorable Sheriff Sarr, the National Assembly member for Joseon constituency, expressed a deep concern about the alarming state of wetlands, describing their preservation as a universal responsibility, highlighting the gaps in existing regulatory frameworks.
Today they plant, tomorrow you come back and zero. So government should see at least create funding or at least adjust the budget of the Ministry of Environment to create funding for the wetland, because it's very key for the wetland to be preserved. Without the wetland, in the long run, you will see the effect, because now it's manageable now. But climate change is a concern to everybody. It's a concern to the whole world. And then we know when there is disaster, what do we think of? Climate. Everything happened during this period. So the way I'm seeing the one in the Gambia, and especially the areas that these wetlands are, they are very prone to disaster. Very, very prone to disaster. If you look at the wetland area from Old Joswang along the way up to Abuko, these are areas that are very, very prone to disasters. So areas that are very prone to disasters, what is there to preserve the wetland, to preserve the ecosystem? You are trying to do away with it.
Honorable Sarr noted the absence of clear policies to protect these vital ecosystems. He revealed that no specific budget is currently allocated for wetland conservation and urged the government to prioritize this issue by dedicating funding or reassigning resources within the Ministry of Environment. Sarr also called on stronger policies to curb encroachment and unauthorized construction in vulnerable areas. Lamin Koma, Program Manager and Head of Coastal and Marine Environment Program at the NEA, underscored the agency's commitment to raising public awareness. He emphasized that community engagement is crucial as health of wetlands directly impact local populations. Koma outlined the importance of grassroots initiatives in addressing challenges threatening these ecosystems.
For regulating issues affecting the environment. The number one regulation is the National Environment Management Act, which of course includes how we need to protect and regulate our environment. You go to other institutions, they have their regulations and acts. For instance, the Forestry Act, the Biodiversity Act, the National Biodiversity Strategic Action Plan, which they call NBSAP, etc. So all of these have a component on regulating this ecosystem. So this is number one strategy that we can use. The other one is sensitizing the communities. If you take a walk along our coastal ecosystems, including the riverbanks, most from here all the way to somewhere around up to around Kauru, for instance, all those areas are flanked by mangroves. So rigorous sensitization and awareness raising to these communities. They need to understand the importance of mangroves and also the significance of wetlands.
Noha Jame, Senior Wildlife Conservation Officer at the Department of Wildlife, highlighted the ongoing efforts to educate communities about sustainable practices and the dangers of waste dumping. He disclosed the plans to draft a comprehensive wetland policy and expand the network of protected areas, especially in rural regions.
Especially around the combos here, They have a lot of importance, starting from beach soil and protection, control of floods, all natural calamities that are connected to marine waters. Wetlands can play a role in that, because wetlands have ecosystems. That ecosystems have different forms of functions. So you can see that protecting them or restoring the degraded areas contribute to those importance values of wetlands. And also, like, we also support community livelihoods, like supporting women, train them on the modern waste farming techniques, because most of these women, they support their children going to school, they pay their medical bills. So we train them to modern techniques that that increase their yields on oyster and the size of oyster and even the health condition of oysters. So we raise their awareness, we train them, and also we raise the awareness of the communities about discriminate dumpings.
However, Jame acknowledged the persistent issues like waste dumping and encroachment continue to jeopardize conservation efforts, necessitating broader community involvement in awareness campaigns.
Our policies to be amended or to be ratified at the National Assembly, like our bills. You understand? When you have policies, let our policies be respected. You understand? Let our policies, let them allow us to implement the policies. You understand? When we have strategies, let us be able to implement those strategies. But you have a strategy you cannot implement. You have even a work plan, you cannot even implement it. It's a problem. Those are big challenges. And right now, what we have as a major challenge is waste. And this is exacerbated by encroachment.
Adding a critical perspective, Ousainou Sonko, a climate activist known as Ousainou Gambia, stressed the economic potential of wetlands. He illustrated how these ecosystems could boost tourism while simultaneously safeguarding environmental health and local livelihoods. Sonko reiterated that community participation is not just beneficial, but essential for the success of conservation efforts.
Most valuable ecosystem that we have globally is the wetland, because the important wetland cannot be overemphasized. One of the important of wetland is the marine resources. Wetlands have an habitat for marine resources. You go to the wetland, you see a lot of marine resources, the crab, the fish, the snails, and all those things. So it has to have a home, it has to have a habitat for all these resources, more especially even the birds that are not even the birds. You can see a lot of birds around the wetland, and that also links to tourism. You can see because we have a lot of birds in the wetland, it becomes an area where tourists use for bird watching and all those things. So another important of the wetland is wetlands serve as a buffer for breeding ground for the fish. Because what happens is these fish from the ocean, they come to the wetland and they'll lay their eggs there, the smaller fish and go back to the wetland. And another thing is wetland prevent erosion.
As wetlands face mounting challenges, the unified voices of leaders, experts and activists are calling for immediate action. The path further hinges on robust collaboration among government agencies, environmental advocates and community members to secure the future of these indispensable ecosystems. For Star TV News, this is Awa Sanneh.